Hello and welcome to Sports News Africa, the home of Africa's sporting conversation. Let's take a look at the headlines. Guinea and Ghana share the spoils on a Moroccan night. The Falcons soar where eagles dare not. Thank you for watching Sports News Africa. I am Angela Agor. Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers reached a crucial stage this weekend, with the first of the double headers played in matches across the continent. There were shocks, comebacks and plenty to be happy about for fans across the continent. And despite the disruption caused by the tournaments by Ebola, all matches took place as scheduled. Let's catch up with the results and the reactions now, starting with one match which was definitely disrupted by the outbreak, Guinea versus Ghana.
In a key Group E clash, Guinea were forced to play their home fixture against the Black Stars of Ghana in the Moroccan city of Casablanca due to the spectre of the Ebola virus currently affecting some West African countries. Playing to a small but passionate group of supporters who had made the trip out to the Maghreb, the Ghanaians fell behind to a first half strike by Ghanaian captain Asamoah Gyan. But the loyalty of the Guinean support did not go unrewarded, as German-based striker Ibrahim Traoré fired in a wonderful equaliser 9 minutes from time to earn their team a draw.
Another match which was played under extenuating circumstances was the fixture between Sierra Leone and Cameroon, which had to have both matches played in Yaoundé.
Have nothing to do with the game, so we do our best. We take 1 point, which is we need the 1 point for everything. So we still have more one game to go.
Only because we cannot play home game, but the national team, most players play from Europe. We only get maybe 2-3 players play home, so always we get players from Europe. So the only problem is like we cannot play home game. That's the problem with the Ebola situation.
We've spoken about rebuilding. It takes time. You have to play one match at a time. We knew that it would be a tough game. We came up against a very, very good team who caused problems for Côte d'Ivoire. They sat back and had trouble attacking in the first half. In the second half, we had chances, but we couldn't manage to score. We created 5, 6, 7 chances. We didn't score. We can really say that because we analysed the match with Sierra Leone, the 2 matches aren't easy. Me personally, I am not happy. Personally, I hope this disease, Ebola, is not still in Cameroon. I think we're fighting the disease, and that won't get to us.
In a result that sent shockwaves through fans of the national team and had JJ Okocha urging fingers to be pointed at the ruin of the game's administration in the country, reigning champions Nigeria left themselves with a mountain to climb and entirely dependent on an unlikely sequence of results if they are to have any hope of qualifying from their group.
Newspaper headlines in the capital Abuja captured the mood of football fans in the country after Nigeria's Super Eagles had their wings clipped by Sudan on Saturday. The future now appears bleak for reigning African champions who risk failing to qualify for the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations after going down 1-0 against Sudan in a qualifier match played in Khartoum. In the city of Abuja, fans said they were disillusioned with the Super Eagles' lackluster performance.
It felt bad. I was expecting it, because in our previous matches, we've shown that we are not a team in Africa to be reckoned with. We have lost the touch.
If it is the fault of the coach, what is the NFF doing? If it is the players, what are they doing? The whole bulk of the thing is on the NFF. it's good. And if your coach is not performing well, what do? You sack him. In Nigeria, we play politics with everything.
Saturday's loss now sends Nigeria to the bottom of Pool A after Sudan, who now have 3 points. South Africa leads with 7 points and Congo 6. With just 1 point from 3 games, there is mounting pressure on the Eagles coach Stephen Keshi, who is already walking a tightrope, having not won any match in the ongoing qualifiers. Sudan last beat Nigeria in 1967, while the last time they managed to score against the Eagles was in 1973.
In stark contrast to the gloom surrounding the men's side, Nigeria's senior women's team, the Super Falcons, got themselves off to a winning start in the CAF African Women's Championships, which kicked off in Namibia at the weekend. The Falcons, who have a strong winning pedigree in this tournament, joined hosts Namibia, who also beat Zambia 2-0 in the tournament opener. In other results, Algeria beat Ghana 1-0 and Cameroon scored a late winner to beat South Africa.
While Nigeria's men's team came up empty-handed in their quest to qualify for next year's Africa Cup of Nations over the weekend, their female counterparts had no such worries. Nigeria's Super Falcons, playing in the African Women's Championship currently underway in Namibia, got their qualification for the Women's World Cup in Canada next year off to a flying start by beating the Ivory Coast 4-2 in their opening round fixture.
My opponents, they gave us a good fight, and I think we were able to stand for it, and I think we did well.
We'll be very glad to win this tournament because that's our aim and purpose of being here. And we've been working very hard about this trophy. We lost it last time at the Equatorial Guinea, and we're here to redeem our trophy. So we're very, very ready for this trophy.
Chicago hosted the running world once again on Sunday as nearly 45,000 runners took to the streets for the 2014 Bank of America Chicago Marathon. While there were precautions taken following the first U.S. Ebola diagnosis in Texas, officials said there were no Ebola scares or concerns surrounding the race and touted no security problems during the event. Despite optimism by the race organizers and competing athletes and perfect weather, there was no world record set in Chicago this year. Kenyan Eliud Kipchoge crossed the finish line in just 2 hours, 4 minutes and 11 seconds, a slower time than last year's course record, 2 hours, 3 minutes and 45 seconds, set by Kenya's world record holder Dennis Kimeto. In the women's race, defending champion Rita Jeptu of Kenya won her second consecutive Bank of America Chicago Marathon on Sunday, making her the first ever man or woman to win 4 straight world marathon majors. Her time was 2 hours, 24 minutes and 36 seconds, a slower time than the sub 2 hours 20 she ran last year. To discuss this race and the performance of the Kenyan athletes, we are joined on Skype by Elias Makori, 2012 IAAF World Journalist of the Year from Iten, Kenya. It's turned out to be a remarkable year for Kenyan marathoners. What is the secret behind this?
Yeah, it's been an amazing year for Kenyan marathon running. The secret behind it, I personally would say it's because of the training, the hard training, the altitude, and also the history of Kenyan marathon running. Since the greats like Douglas Wakihuri won the World Championships gold in Rome, and also Ibrahim Hussein became the first Kenyan to win the New York Marathon. There's been a lot of inspiration for the young athletes coming up who've seen, the legends build up their careers from running, get into, good houses and build up their businesses from athletics. So this has contributed a lot to, the development of Kenyan marathon running. And of course, these days marathon running pays a very, very tidy sum, and this has encouraged Kenyans to go for it.
At what stage of the race did it become clear that both Kipchoge and Jeptu would carry the day?
Yeah, Chicago was a very tactical race. It was always going to be, the battle between Eliud Kipchoge and Kenenisa Bekele. That was the hype before the race. But, it was very open. The first mile, they ran 4:34, then settled for an average of 4 minutes 45 per mile. After that, very, very consistent pace with Tariq Bekele bringing the leading group to the halfway mark in 62:12, which is a very, very good time. And then we had the good pace making by Girma Gebreselassie and Geoffrey Kirui, up to the 30K mark in 1:28:46. But the first significant move of the day was just after the 35 kilometers when the three, Eliud Kipchoge, Sami Kitwara, and Dixon Chumba broke, and it was only about 38 or 39 kilometers that Kipchoge, obviously with the experience and the exposure on the track, broke away from the lead group. And from there on, it was obvious by the 40-kilometer mark that Eliud Kipchoge was going to win. And of course, his winning time, 2:04:11, just 6 seconds outside his personal best time. The women's race was equally competitive, and the leading group up to 35K before Rita Jepto broke with just 5 kilometers to go. And at 40 kilometers, it was obvious she was going to be the winner, winning in 2:24:35 and becoming the first woman to win 4 majors consecutively.
The New York Marathon is the final marathon major of this year and takes place in a few weeks' time. Can Geoffrey Mutai put the icing on the cake with another Kenyan win?
Yeah, Geoffrey is the defending champion from last year, and of course he comes from the same management group with the new world record holder, Dennis Kimetto, that is Volare Sport of Holland. And he'll have a big challenge from his stablemate, Wilson Kipsang, who held the previous world record at 2:03:23 before Dennis broke it. So it's either going to be Geoffrey Mutai or Wilson Kipsang. Wilson, of course, will be wanting to get some respect back after losing his world record. On the women's side, of course, is a 2-time world champion, Edna Kiplagat, facing a stiff challenge from Belsunesh Deba from Ethiopia. And of course, it's going to be very more open than the men's. But for the men, I'd say it's between Kipsang and Mutai, who raced against each other only once over the marathon, with Kipsang winning the London Marathon that year and Mutai 6th. So it's going to be a very, very tough field with, of course, Stephen Kiprotich, the world champion from Uganda, who's making an appearance. So really, it's going to be an exciting finish to the season.
What do you think will happen in the next race if world record holder Dennis Kimetto competes with other Kenyan marathon champions?
Obviously, this is something that everybody is waiting with keen interest to see what will happen if these guys come together. But unfortunately, we might not live to see it because it's very difficult in modern marathon running to get a field of all the best runners because the directors are trying to split, and the managers are trying to split their runners. You wouldn't have, for example, the top 10 best marathoners in the world running in the same race because, again, it's very expensive to assemble such a field with the appearance fees going up to $150,000 for the top athletes. So it will ideally be a great race, but unfortunately, we will not see it.
Thank you, Elias. The sentence of Oscar Pistorius got underway today at the North Gauteng High Court in Pretoria, with the athlete facing a potential sentence of up to 15 years in jail. Pistorius was convicted of culpable homicide last month after he shot his girlfriend, Reva Stemkamp, on Valentine's Day in 2013. The court was to hear from 3 witnesses for the defence, as well as an official witness from the South Africa's Department of Correctional Services. The prosecution is expected to put forward a couple of witnesses, with the whole process expecting to finish before the end of the week. Judge Thokozile Masipa cleared Pistorius of murder last month, but convicted him of the lesser charge of culpable homicide and also found him guilty of 1 charge of negligently discharging a firearm in a crowded restaurant in Johannesburg in January 2013. To stay up to the minute with the proceeds, and make sure you follow us on @SNA_TV, and we'll keep a track on what's being said and by whom, as well as the judge's decision as it nears. As the world watches one sleeping giant wake up to the joys of football, American soccer is not the only game trying to grow in a country previously unreceptive to the world's most popular sport. Borrowing heavily from the celebrity and razzmatazz of cricket's IPL, India attempts to boost the stature of football in the country with a high-profile, star-studded launch for its new soccer league.
For a fantastic startup for ISL. I hope that it motivates all the youth. We are looking for the youth of India to participate in football. And thank you, Calcutta, again. It has been a fantastic start to the Indian Super League. And let's football.
It's just the first game, and I hope we can go back, we can work harder, and come back with a fighting spirit.
Incredible atmosphere. So now I'm in India, and I know the people, they love so much football. So it's very good for us.
Game was a pretty interesting game. It was up to the mark of international standards, right? Especially Calcutta has really outplayed against Mumbai. So Mumbai was nowhere near to the game. The kind of defense, and the defense was very weak from the Mumbai end. So Calcutta people managed to score goals on that.
It will make it more popular. It is also a popular launching pad for the youngsters, mixing up with the top international stars. Which will help the league grow as well as the players grow, and hope we can qualify for the 2026 World Cup.
And that's the end of Sports News Africa for today. Join us again tomorrow when we bring you all the latest from Africa and around the world. Bye for now.